Hey everybody, this is Joel Toppin here. Got a package in the mail from GMT Games, which included number 5 in the coin series, Liberty or Death, American Insurrection. This game is designed by Harold Buchanan, and he kind of worked a little bit with Volko, but it's really this is Harold's work here using Volko's system, the coin system, counterinsurgency system. So here we go. Let's look inside the box here. First we find a playbook, and it is on paper that's hard to describe. It's not glossy, but it's not exactly semi-gloss either. It's kind of a different feel. It really is kind of like a mixture. Okay, so this is the playbook. It's got a tutorial in it. It's got historic information, player notes. There's quite a lot in it. It's a substantial playbook. It is weighing in at 52 pages. So there's quite a lot here. So there's some neat historic background, examples of play. Nice stuff. Next we find the rule book, which is much lighter, same material, weighing in at 40 pages. Of which, I should stress, most of it is the non-player faction. So if you're not playing this solitaire, if you're playing this with a full table, the rules are only going to weigh in at 22 pages. So it's not a terribly complex game like the rest of the coin games. Now when you get into the non-player factions, that's where the game starts to get a little complicated. And you can play this solitaire. And so all that information is in here, and then you have the scenario information and setups at the back. Again, it's nicely illustrated. So, all right. Next up, we have a couple sets of charts. This has got the non-player card information for events, kind of thing. Random spaces, again for the mostly used for the non-player rules. So this chart is almost exclusively for non-player situations. You get 2 of those. These are on nice cardstock. Excuse me, I gotta shift my position here. It's on nice cardstock. It's got a nice weight to it. So here we have the sequence of play, and then this coin game has some different things in it unique to this coin game, and one of which is a battle procedure. There are battles in here, and dice are actually thrown to resolve some battles. So there's some neat things in here that are not in any of the other coin games. It's going to feel very similar to other coin games, but there are going to be some notable differences. So again, you get 2 of these. Well, it looks like more than 2 of them. Probably 1 for each player. So 2, 3, 4. Yeah, you get 4 of these charts. Next up is the non-player flow charts, which govern the AI for what we like to call the bots. If you're playing solitaire or with less than a full table and you want to use the non-player rules, there are alternates to, if you don't want to use the non-player rules, there's an alternate way of doing that in the game if you don't have a full table. But it's kind of fun to use these. So, and a lot of work goes into these, so yeah, please use them. So there's a couple of those, there's 2 of those charts. Then we have charts for all of the players. All of the players will get one of these, and this is for the core game itself. Tells you what you can do, your commands, your special activities, how you can win. And so every player will be able to see what all the other players are capable of doing. The player factions are, you have the British and the Indians against the Patriots and the French. But bear in mind that even though the Indians and the British will be working together to a degree, only one player can win. Same thing with the Patriots and the French. There can only be one winner. So in that respect, I would say in the respect that the way the players are lined up, it's most similar to Fire in the Lake, where you have the VC and the NVA, working together, but only one can win. And then you have the U.S. and the Republic of Vietnam working together, but only one can win. Got a couple counter sheets. Now these are really thick, nice counters here. These will go in little stand-up holders, and that's for trying to adjust the lighting here for us. This is for the leader rules, which is something new in this game. You'll also encounter in Falling Sky, which is due to be released here maybe in another month or so on the Gallic Revolt, the Gallic War, Caesar's Gallic War. Volko and his son Andrew have been putting that one together, and there's leader rules in that game as well. So there's some leader rules for this, and you have stand-up counters, which look really, I mean, the artwork on these are really, really nice. I like this. I gotta tell you, I love painting so much more than just cartoon clip art. Really do. Okay, here is the main counter sheet. And all of those leaders, by the way, if you don't want to use the stand-up holders, then there are round tokens, which personally I prefer these for the leaders. I like the stand-ups, you know, for the ships, but for the leaders, it gets a little congested in the board, so I prefer to use these. And then Rabble Rousing is in the game, and it's kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like a terror marker from the other games in the series, and raid markers are kind of like terror too. So there's, like I said, there's some mechanics in here that's going to feel like the other games, but there's some differences to it. What's neat about this is for the propaganda, and propaganda in this game is not like propaganda in the other games. Propaganda in this is like I said, they're like terror markers. But it's got the names of all of these individuals. So you can see here Samuel Adams, Joseph Warren, etc., etc. A couple women are on here. Paul Revere, Benjamin Rush, so forth. So it's got some interesting, you know, chrome to the game. There's no special rules for any of these guys, but it's kind of cool just to see them. And there's same thing with the raids. On the backs of it, the raid marker will say Mohawk, Cayuga, Seneca, Onondaga, Wyandot, Seminole, so forth. So you can put a little bit of chrome in the game with that. It's kind of neat. Another thing that's interesting in this game is that support goes toward the British, and opposition goes toward the Patriots. What's confusing about that sometimes is how, and again, I'm sorry about the fluctuating lighting here. What's confusing about that sometimes is how the in most games opposition was red and support was blue. So you had to pay attention in this. There are some very interesting differences here, even though it feels the same. There's some new things going on. Okay, now we get to the map, and I will unfold this for you in just a moment. It's obviously a mounted board. We'll come back to that. Here are the little holders, stand-up holders for your leaders. So your leaders can be stand-up guys. Okay. Here is the wooden bits. The green is your Tories. Red is your redcoats, regulars. Then the blue, you have cylinders, and then you have cubes. Cubes are the Continentals, and then the cylinders, like there with the star on it, those are your militia. And then the white cubes, those are French troops. And then the Indians, they all have war bands or war parties. I don't remember exactly what they're called, but they have like an arrowhead on one end. It's pretty cool. Got gray and black pawns to mark spaces. Villages are circular discs, and then forts are like, they're like bases in the other games. Villages and forts are like bases. And so you have these star-shaped pieces. So you see there's a British fort for you. Kind of neat. The British activity pawns and resource marker pawns have like a nice little crown on it. It's just a cool piece of chrome there. And I think there's a fleur-de-lis on the there's a fleur-de-lis on the French one. So, all right, so you got a bag full of wooden bits here. You have some dice. Like I said, there is some die rolling in the game. These are plastic dice and smaller than in any of the other coin games. How this works is there is a die that rolls 1 to 6, but the rest of these, the red and the blue ones, they roll 1 to 3s. So you'll be throwing, I think you throw 3, each player throws 3 of these in combat, and you add up the results, and there's a table that tells you what happens then. So that's for your battles. A bag of baggies. You got some cards. The artwork on the cards is phenomenal. It's a departure from the style, the artistic style of any of the other coin games. But you're dealing with radically different era here. This is, all the other coin games have been modern era. This is taking you back to the age of flintlock rifles and tomahawks. So I like what they've done with the artwork on this. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map here. Okay, I've unfolded the map and just give you a quick tour of it. Previous coin games, you have like provinces, and then you had cities, or you had departments and cities. This has got like territories and, again, cities. I think they're actually called colonies in this. Colonies and cities. So you have Florida, which is a population 0. Got a couple perimeter areas like Southwest, Northwest, Quebec. And then you have the city of Quebec, which does have population. So city population values are like in a yellow circle, whereas the colonies are all in white circles. Obviously, some colonies are bigger than others in terms of geography, so crowding won't be an issue down here, but you'll probably have to use the overflow boxes for places like Massachusetts and the Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey. Those can get a little cramped. I like how they took the cities and kind of blew them up and put them out here to show where they're at. That's just a very neat artistic approach to solve the problem of crowding there. West Indies is a thing in the game. It's a pop 0 area, but it is significant. And of course your sequence of play, all that stuff's on here. Just a really neat artistic approach. Really like what they did with it. So it's a neat departure from the earlier games' artistic style that really fits the era that this game portrays. So this is a very different look at the American Revolution. It's Liberty or Death, The American Insurrection by Harold Buchanan, developed by Mike Berticelli. And there is a Vassal module I put together for this, which is kind of cool. It will, keep track of most of the pertinent data for you, facilitates gameplay. So if you don't have 5 buddies to play this with, or 4 guys to play this with, tabletop, you can always play it on Vassal. So there you go. I'm Joel Toppin. That's what comes inside the box.